Hi there, this is Andy Munitz, and welcome to the Pro Audio Booth at Sony's NAB 2023. Can you imagine? Here we are, 2023. So what I'll do today is bring you through a lot of the products that we're showing at our Pro Audio area, and we'll just kind of go down the line. Starting out at this end of the booth, we're showing our DWX wireless microphone series in use for a location sound buildup. We've got a sound devices Scorpio mixer, an 888, along with their SL6 little bucket holder that holds 3 of our 2-channel true digital wireless double tuner diversity receivers, all going into, and this little mixer recorder can control these receivers because these receivers now adopt a super slot and unislot size capability. So that's kind of a big deal for location sound. We're also, and by the way, the receiver menu can control the receiver's ability to scan and find the quietest frequencies to use, which is really one of the most important things to do whenever you're using wireless microphones. We're showing here our DWP-B03R micro body pack, which is rechargeable, uses little internal Sony rechargeable CyberShot camera batteries. They go for about 7 hours, lovely little thing. And those batteries are not proprietary, and we've got millions of them in the world, I'm sure. But that's what we're showing as the lavalier kind of choice to go along with the system. Moving on down, we're showing a new microphone that we've had in the line for a very short amount of time, called a C80. This microphone is now one of my very favorite microphones from our Sony family. And we honestly just came from the NAB Show, the big music store show in Anaheim, California last week, where this microphone, I think, really blew people's minds apart because we showed it up next to our C800G tube microphone, which is a very iconic high-end recording studio microphone that is so sought out, in demand. If you order one, it takes a little over 2.5 years to get it on back order, and it's somewhere in the order of over about $11,000. But I had people talking and singing to that microphone and get all excited by it, and then I say, okay, now try this microphone, and they would go back and forth, and their jaws would drop because this little C80 would sound almost identical to that C800G, and it's $499 in US, so kind of amazing. Lovely microphone. If you have a chance, absolutely check it out and have a listen to it. In this situation here, though, since this is a broadcast show, I have it hooked up in a podcasting application. It's certainly wonderful for recording studio, for vocals, for voiceover work, for recording acoustic instruments, guitar cabinet, all sorts of very high-end. But it's a cardioid pattern condenser microphone, lovely sounding and very well priced. But we're showing it here in a podcasting environment. The idea is that there's so many podcasts these days, and every time I see one online, it seems people are using dynamic microphones. And for me, a condenser microphone adds that sparkle to the human voice that makes it sound a lot more real. So I think it's well worth a little bit bigger investment to get a very high quality condenser microphone. Next up is a very important new product for us here at Sony Pro Audio. It's a brand new pair of professional headphones called MDR-MV1. We are known for our very popular MDR-7506 headphones that we've had out for so many years, but these are just everywhere. It's an industry standard. And one of the things, besides how they sound, and they have a very nice sound to them, they are extremely comfortable to wear. Because when you are a professional and you have to wear headphones all day long, you want the headphones to kind of feel like a nice, worn pair of jeans. They become part of you. They are a nice piece of clothing that you're not always going, I'm wearing headphones, I'm wearing headphones. They become part of you, and you can do that all day long. So when we came out with a new set of professional headphones like the MDR-MV1s, we were absolutely motivated to make these headphones as comfortable as they could be. But guess what? They had to sound incredible. These are an open back design as opposed to the 7506s, which are a closed back design, a closed headphone. The benefit of an open back design, especially in the new world of immersive mixing and spatial audio, is that if you have a closed back headphone design, the sound kind of bangs around a lot. It reflects a lot inside of the headphone, and that can sort of mush it up a little bit. It ruins its kind of the localization of the sound source and things like that. So an open back design like this is very accurate. These headphones have a frequency response of 5 hertz to 80K, and that makes them really a very high quality reference headphone for mixing. Because it's an open back design, you wouldn't necessarily use them in a tracking environment, because if you were singing through a microphone and it's going through your fold-back system and you're wearing these, a little bit of sound leakage perchance could get back into the microphone you're in front of, and that's not such a good thing. But in mixing, in monitoring, and all those kind of things, these are an incredible choice. But because they have such a wide frequency response of 5 hertz to 80K, asking a diaphragm to do all of that frequency range and do it with a smooth transition between that entire wide range of frequencies is a very tall order, very hard thing to design. But guess what? Our Sony engineers are up to the task. They went through several redesigns of diaphragm design with involvement of industry experts and leading mixing engineers as well. But they came up with a design that is stiff enough to be able to do an 80K and super high frequency kind of reproduction, but it also has to be pliable enough to do the low frequencies and down to 5 hertz. Very hard to accomplish. Well, they came up with what we refer to as a curved corrugated design with a tri-ducting structure, because in a low frequency range, it can't be mushy. It's got to be a tight bass. And so this tri-duct structure also allows for having a very tight, sharp transient response in the bass. So that's a nice thing as well. And because they're an open back design, you can sometimes lose energy in your lower frequencies because it's open back, but these don't. These are a lovely full sounding headphones. Now, they sound great, and they sound, you know, like you're listening to a pair of monitor speakers, but what would a pair of Sony headphones be if they weren't also extremely comfortable? And we have a very large business in headphones in the consumer side, and certainly the 7506s are known for their comfort, so these are as well. They are very lightweight intentionally. This is a kind of aluminum outside shell design with a lot of little kind of holes in it as well that is super lightweight. But the ear pad construction is this very soft suede-like material. And there is just enough grab in these headphones so that when you're wearing them, they're tight, they don't shake around, but they don't kind of oppress you into saying, I'm wearing headphones. I've worn these for hours at a day, and that's what they're designed for. They also come with a detachable cable, because in the pro world, you can sometimes trash your cable and you need to be able to pull it out or get a replacement cable or whatever. But it comes terminated, screw-in 1/8 inch at this side and a 1/4 inch at this side. But even this cable, the 1/4 inch, is a finely machined aluminum connector. So that shows the detail that our engineers went to in providing a high-quality product. The MDR-MV1 does also come with a 1/4 inch female to 1/8 inch male adapters so that you can use it with your traditional other sound sources. So the MDR-MV1s are just coming and are available right now, kind of in the middle of April, I think we are. I'm kind of lost. But, they will retail in the US for $399.99. Check them out. So another thing that we are showing as we move down the line here, we've got our portable audio recorders, our little PCM A10, and our PCM D10. These both have mics that go out to 40K frequency response. The little guy can even do 96K. The big guy can do up to 192K, even with MP3s. And they are both Bluetooth remote controllable at distances approaching about 60 feet, which means that you can place the recorders far away, near talent, but you can control them remotely on a smartphone from up to 60 feet away. And in the case of the small guy, you can not only start, stop, and record enable, you can actually adjust record levels, which is a great kind of confidence thing. And you can certainly stop and start recording as well on the large models as well. So that's the PCM A10 and the PCM D10. Moving farther down, we get into our realm of wireless microphones, a very important product line for Sony. And here what we have are really two families of wireless microphones. We have our fully high-end wireless product line called DWX, Digital Wireless Transmission. And this is generally what we sell to an awful lot of broadcasters for slot-in receivers that will mount into the slots in the back of our large shoulder cams for news crews, for production, things like that. And we also have various kinds of body pack transmitters and plug-on transmitters for stick mics and for shotgun microphones on boom poles. And moving down, we move into our permanent installation product line for this same digital wireless series, DWX. Now again, DWX is true digital wireless transmission. And at Sony, we've been in the wireless microphone business, believe it or not, since about 1960. We were one of the earliest ones in wireless microphones and have created some of the most common kind of things about wireless that many systems out there all employ. Multi-frequency, kind of onboard groups, memories, all sorts of battery meters, et cetera, et cetera. But here we are showing our kind of common build-up for a news studio environment. Multiple rack receivers with 2 channels each, full PC remote controllability and monitoring, remote antennas. All of this DWX wireless, the transmitters can also be remotely controlled at a distance on kind of what's commonly referred to as Zigbee architecture. A little bit like Bluetooth pairing, wherein once you pair up a transmitter with a particular wireless receiver channel, they are now paired, and you can call up the transmitter's channel at the receiver or through the software, and you can change all the settings on the transmitter at a great distance. We not only have our reception antennas, but we even have Zigbee remote controlled transmission antennas. And you can have up to 15 of these placed around a facility in multiple studios, control rooms, maintenance room, in the, in the big newsroom or out on the back deck where you may do the weather, all these kind of things. And whenever a transmitter is in range of one of these kind of Zigbee control transmitters, you can change its settings from the software, from the front panel of the receiver. So all of these receivers are also double Dante capable, and it's a very, very fully featured high-end digital wireless system, also appropriate for theatrical, theater use, things like that. So DWX. And moving on down, now we're in the area that we love to talk about here at Sony Pro Audio. This is our wireless family called UWP-D. Stands for UHF Wireless Package, and the D stands for Digital Signal Processing. The idea here is that analog wireless over the years has, had its little issues, but we have intentionally been able to improve the quality of the sound of analog wireless to a great degree, and effectively through the use of what's called a digital companding system. Without going into too much detail here, but basically inside of DSP, or digital signal processing, we process the audio for really excellent quality, very sharp kind of a transient response, or being able to pick up sounds with very sharp wave fronts, and which makes our brain think that sounds natural, instead of having a sharp sound like a bat hitting a ball, or the letter T or the letter K has a sharp wave front. And in nature we hear that very sharply, but if a system kind of mushes it out, and that's a technical term, then it doesn't quite sound as good. So we've been very successful with improving the sound with DSP, and therefore it's UWP-D DSP. However, we've got several models in this family, and they are kind of very applicable to our smaller range of cameras, such as the FX30, the FX3, FX6, FX9, Z280, all of our range of alpha cameras, the mirrorless cameras, things like that. And they have a all these cameras have a unique hot shoe architecture called MI, or a multi-interface shoe. It's not just a dumb shoe connector, it's a shoe with lots of little pins inside. And we have the ability to add a little shoe adapter to the bottom of our wireless receivers, which allows us to directly connect the entire affair right to the top of the camera, right to the top of the camera, right to the top of the camera. And the audio goes from the wireless receiver directly down through the shoe right into the video files of the camera. And as well, you don't even need to have batteries in these guys, because you can make it so that the power from the camera's battery comes up and powers the wireless receiver, and actually turns the receiver on and off with the camera power. So that's a great thing. But there has been an improvement in this 4th generation of UWP-D, which is really very important. On this multi-interface shoe, we have a little switch. And that little switch says analog or digital. And when it's in the digital position, normally this receiver, because it has digital audio internally, would have to make an analog output, and you would have to go through a D to A converter to get the audio out via cables. But here, since we're using the MI shoe and it's attached to the bottom, you can set that little switch to digital, and we can bypass the receiver's D to A converter and the subsequent camera's A to D converter, and go with the video audio right into the video file of the camera, D to D. And that also improves the signal quality, the sound of the system. To wrap up the UWP-D in this whole little presentation, I will say that one of the things that we really focused on with the UWP-D system, and especially with the new 2-channel wireless receiver, is helping with scanning and finding the quietest frequencies to use. In my experience, those of you that are photogs, you are very good at framing up gorgeous shots, but if I might say, there's some that audio makes you a little nervous. And because you know you should be using really clean and open frequencies, but you're a little worried about scanning maybe, because the frequencies are set now and they worked for me last week or last month, maybe even in a different city, but if I try to scan, I'm not sure I remember how, and I may screw up, and then I'm really out of luck. Well, that's the wrong attitude. The attitude should be, it's very simple to learn how to scan wherever you are and whenever you are, and find the quietest channels to use so that you will not have any interference on your audio, because audio is really important to video. Don't forget, it's half of the information, and it's how humans really communicate. But we have really tried to design wireless that is so easy to use. For example, on this receiver, it's a 2-channel receiver. There, you don't even have to jump into menus. There's a top panel button that says NFC Sync. You literally hold it down for about 3 seconds, and the unit will take off and start scanning the entire FCC range that this unit is capable of operating in. And it will then find all of 2 frequencies that are as low quality here, I mean very high quality, very low noise. And here it's found 2 channels that it says are the quietest it could find. You go, that's great, thanks for finding them. And you just hit yes, I like those frequencies and I want to tell the receivers to use those frequencies. It says great. So now what it did is it said, okay, I've got a little NFC logo here. My transmitter also has a little NFC logo here. And now I've got to tell the transmitter to operate on that frequency. So literally face plant the 2 together, and it will transmit the information across. I might have timed out, but no, it did it, fine. And now it'll say, let me have the second transmitter and do the same thing. And now the second channel and the transmitter is also set to the right frequency. And you get to work, you're all good. You're on the 2 quietest frequencies in your area. So it's very easy to scan. Top panel button, follow the menu, and go, and touch the transmitters. So there's lots more that the UWP-D family can do. We also have online training videos that go into every menu and feature and function. And we simply urge you, if you would like to know more about UWP-D wireless, or you own it already and you want to learn to operate it as efficiently as possible, search out those videos and follow along with them with your own gear, and I promise you, a light bulb will go off in your head and you will become the master of this wireless in no time at all. So here's thanking you for spending some time with us here at Sony Pro Audio. And thanks very much, everybody.
Make it look easy. Get some sleep. I know you're tired.
Okay.
But thank you for doing that.